Hello, and welcome to the Digital Deep Dive podcast, the podcast where we go into the nitty-gritties of daily tech. And today with me, I have Kushal Panchal, who's been in the tech industry for over a decade. Hi, Kushal.
Hi, Javeria. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back here again with you, talking about the different problems and the different solutions on the different layer.
So you've been in the industry for over a decade and you've had your ups and downs. Yes, you have solved so many problems. What are the works you're the most proud of?
Well, absolutely right, Javeria. It's been, over a decade, and it's kind of, if I say, it's completely a roller coaster ride. So many ups and downs, but more excited, and I'm super happy that, during over the decades, solving and fixing the problems and providing the solutions where technology will directly help, solving the problems with reference to whether it's a recruitment problem, whether it's an individual problem with related to a music, which or could be another problem, even in the organization at where they want their other employees to, keep engaged into a different activities and keep them motivated and feel them that their voice is being heard at the right place. So absolutely, yes, the entire decade, it's been more over roller coaster and super excited about any new problem that has been coming on the way.
You talked about something, you did mention about a solution that we're motivating people and having their voice heard. What is that solution about?
I mean, absolutely, yeah. We'll definitely talk about that. We call it a EchoLoud platform, which actually exclusively for the organization, and which not just the digital directly, but there are many more features onto it, which is kind of a closed system within their organization where employees can, post anything, share the ideas, provide their suggestions, where even the organization admins and the management post out their broadcasts and everything. So it's not just a directory, but also helping organization and the employees to engage within the systems about the different layers of the organization.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. I was exposed to EchoLoud, and number one, I didn't know that was the EchoLoud tagline. Everyone's voice being heard. Like, I didn't know that was the motto. And secondly, I literally this whole time was thinking that it's just a digital directory. I never even thought of going into the features. So how long EchoLoud has been about anyway?
It's been more than 3 to 4 years that we are, running onto the EchoLoud. I mean, right before the COVID that, we were working on this particular product, and we launched it out during the time of the COVID, which actually helped us a lot during that time, where, employee finds to have a contact details of the other departments within the organization. Sometimes what happens is that the lack of having the number of with the people that they are working within the same team. Because before the COVID, what happens is that, the person is sitting just a couple of rack behind you, or so what you do is just, you just go to that desk and have a chit chat and your work gets done. But COVID has changed the scenarios completely. The work from home culture brought everyone's on the different locations and the virtual. So what happens is that sometimes that someone from the different departments or some new guys that has been just joins the company, sometimes it's not possible to have their, contact details directly. So that's where the digital directory within the EchoLoud helps, that everyone who is working within the organization is their email address, their phone number. So just a one click there, and you can directly reach out to those people during the time of COVID. So that was the most useful feature of the EchoLoud, I must say, and highlight during the time of the COVID, and eventually becomes the important part of even within the organization in the daily activities as well.
I know, I remember, especially when you mentioned digital directory, I think one of the reasons I got blinded to the other features of EchoLoud was because that was about I've been in the corporate culture for like over 10 years myself. Of course, not in the tech industry, relatively new here, but like I've been in the corporate culture for like 8, 10 years. And I remember one of my first lessons when I joined my first, first project, within, my first company was that, the project manager of that, project was like to me, Javeria, just think like, don't let this go. This is one lesson that you will never let go. So every time you're going to go into a new project, every time you're going to go into a new company, or every time you're going to be in a different project, your first job is to make sure that you've got the numbers and the contact details and the names and designations of all the people that in that project, regardless of whether you're going to be working with them or not. He's like, this saves you a ton of time. Sometimes you're in a situation, in an emergency situation, and you need to reach out to somebody. Yes, you've never spoken to them before. Yes, you're probably not going to speak to them again either, but it really saves lives, in order for you to have that. And so this was like ingrained in my brain for a very long time. Every time I would go into a new project, or I started somewhere new, or I did I met a new team of people. That was the first thing I would do. And that would take me like about a week to kind of get all the numbers and the right people and stuff like that. And also because the people keep changing in a project as well, this better than anybody. So that was like always a struggle. And then when I come here, and like literally all that was done is I was sent a link like, hey, just use this. Like, this is your best friend if you want to reach out to anybody. And I think that was probably the reason I got blinded to every other feature of EchoLoud, was because I was like, wow, this is like a book full of numbers, and I don't have to even lift a finger to get in touch with anybody that I want to. It's just in my phone, it's in my laptop. I hear a name, and if I want to talk to them, I can just do that without having to ask a million people around that who's this guy or who's this girl, and trying to figure things out. You just pick up your phone and you dial the number. I think that was one of the things. So digital directory was something, yes, I probably am one of those people who also saw it as just a digital directory. But now that you said it, voice being heard, how did it evolve from being just a digital directory? Like, you as a person, you're the one who built this. You're the one who has put all your thoughts and feelings into it. I know that you've taken consideration of the challenges you faced as a person, and you've translated that into the solution that is EchoLoud. So what made you decide that, now it was time for it to not just be a digital directory anymore, and that, we need to start getting more involvement? When did this just start to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. To answer that, let's just step back and talk about having as a part of an organization, every employee that has been working within, every individual, rather I say, that is working in the organization. So the best factor is that how motivated they are, right? Sometimes what happens is every employee feels that they shy to express their pain areas or provide suggestions, or sometimes they thought is that whether their voice will be reached to a right place or not, or what will happen that if they, say something which may have an adverse effect as well. While what will the other guys think of me if I say something, right? So also, what moments matters is that within the organizations, people certainly kind of comes within thoughts that their voice should get heard at the right place, right? Mm-hmm. They have something to share with, where they can share it with everyone. They wanted to have a platform. So what we came up with is, as a part of that, why don't we have a platform exclusive within the organization where everyone has an access to this particular platform, where any thoughts or any suggestions or any idea or any knowledge that they are having and they wanted to get shared, they came to this particular platform and share it across so that it can be shared within the organization with everyone, okay? They can get a feedback onto their ideas. I'm working on a new product, okay? And I got an idea. I need a few suggestions from my other teammates. There are thousands of employees working within the organization. I may not be getting a chance to, speak to one-to-one about everyone's and, sharing my ideas, said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What's your thoughts onto this? Whether we have to, what can we do onto this? So instead of doing that, the EchoLoud is the platform where you just post your idea. It will be, reach out to all the 1,000 people onto this particular platforms. They can provide a comment and share their ideas on your ideas, so that it's not just, the idea remains within the individual, but it's been shared across the organization. Having said that, it also comes with a certain kind of, any kind of a knowledge that I carry. Okay. It might be a basic one, but could be a most useful one for the other ones working on to the different departments, like accounts teams know something. There are some changes into the taxations. So what they do, if they found something over the internet, they can simply share that particular links or a blog post, or whether it's an image, video, or anything within the platforms, so that every other ones onto this platform within the organization can see it and, see that, okay, this is what happening around. So it's kind of a closed social media platform, which is not actually kind of, posting, don't think it like the Facebook or an Instagram within the organizations, but it's kind of actually useful platform, which provides so much of capabilities and features within it. I think, let me just show you that, what are the features that it carries.
Actually, I'd love that.
So, yeah, Javeria, you first ask about, what is the best work that I have done. I think this is the EchoLoud, which is one of the, the best work that, I'm really proud of working on. I'll quickly walk you through about the, this application and what it does, about the functionalities and features and everything. So the important part is that every organization can register themselves over here as an organization. So I'll log in directly as a part of the company admin. So as soon as you logged in into the application, you'll see the entire timeline over here. So which consists of the suggestions, the ideas, the knowledge. Those things have been posted by the organization employees itself.
Wow.
Not outside the organization. It's very limited. Only employees within the organization who are authorized can access this particular application by the organization email address itself. So that's by default, it's verified that you belongs to that particular organization. The features that I was going to talk about, Javeria, is that these are the ones. The context directory. It's basically the most useful one in the times of the COVID, right? You don't have to go and ask for everyone's number. You just go to here, either whether you will be able to search it through their name, their designations, their email, and you are just one click away with their entire contact detail. Whether you have to reach out via a WhatsApp or an iMessage or a call or a mail, whatever they want to do, just a click away. What the exciting thing that we built within this EchoLoud platform is that we created a QR code for your self contacts itself. So any contacts, any QR code application, if you want to share your contact details with anyone, just simply show this QR code and they scan it, and within just one click, all of your email address, phone number, name, and profile picture will be saved to that directory, their contact detail itself. So with regards to, it's not limited or bounded by the platforms that works only on the iOS. It works totally cross-platform itself.
I love this idea, mostly because we had this situation in GITEX where we were like trying to take like 200, 300 cards with us, and we ran out of it like in the first day, and GITEX is like for 6 days, and we were like, okay, what? So where there were other people, which were like millions of them, struggling with like, okay, I don't have my contact card. I'll give you the contact card of my colleague. We were like walking around with like this QR code saying like, you want our contact details, just scan and take. And honestly, it felt so cool back then, like, not just like, for the sake of looking cool, but it really felt the fact that it was solving that problem, for us. And as simple as the solution it is, but it really did solve a major problem. And we were surrounded by thousands who were having that problem.
Absolutely. Like the other person do not have to type in your name, phone number, email address and everything, designations and the company. It's just a one QR code. If they scan it, they have it all the detail at the one go, and just one click, everything is same. That's it.
Right.
That's super easy and really very helpful. The other thing is that, user can share knowledges. So with reference to anything that is read online, whether it's a blog, whether it's a link, whether it's a photo or a video or anything, or even though if they like to share a code snippet as well. So they can do it right within this particular platform and would be shared across the technologies. Like you see over here, there are ideas has been posted by the peoples within the organization. Speaking about the ideas, so sometimes, as rightly I said in the beginning, that, I'm working on something, I got an idea, and I want a feedback onto it, which I wanted to be shared by the across the people. So I just simply put it, as you can see, that, just 9 hours ago, someone has posted an idea about the AI-powered mental wellness assistance. And you see that, the other people within the organization are start sharing their thoughts onto it as well. Also, you'll get the feedback in terms of the liking as well, that you can clearly see that, people are reacting to your ideas, which you can see as well, that who are those guys, which actually we found is pretty helpful and have an actual insight onto your idea and have more ideas or features requested or anything by the peoples that you are working alongside within the organization.
And they tend to have a better understanding of the context in which you're speaking, is because we are all under the same, or walking towards the same goal, or we are all under the same umbrella. So it feels like you're reaching, where in regularly under social media, like if you see regular social media, it takes so much hard work to be able to reach the people that actually are relevant to your brand or to your idea even. Here, it's very specific. Like, we're actually talking to that entire body of people that can relate to us.
Absolutely correct. So posting an idea is pretty simple. It's just that you go in to share a new idea, you write in, if you have any photo or video, you simply assign a tag and you just post it. It's that simple. You can always search through different ideas, or if you want to filter it out, you can filter it out that, what are the current ideas that are being going for posted last month. Moving forward, we have a broadcast feature as well, which is a kind of that any kind of announcement that, a management want to roll out or spread across the organization. So simply they came over here, they post it over here. As you see that many of the team members have not been completed the survey. So some kind of a survey form has been rolled out, and looks like some of the people have not been voted about it. So it just simply post it over here, which will be, posted, shared across the entire organization. So anyone can see it over here as well, which is, we think that quite very much helpful at the time of COVID, when we have to, announce something or roll out a certain guidelines with reference to that is being said to a COVID or within the organization, or certain policy changes or anything, could be really helpful, so that it's reach out to the every individuals within the organization. Speaking of that, the one of the most important feature and the functionality and the useful part of EchoLoud app that we feel is a suggestions. Though it sounds very simple, that could be the suggestions, right? But I think the most of the important part of any organization that is the how keep their employees motivated all the times, right? And how should this possible? Like employee itself should feel that their voice is being heard at the right place. Okay. I wanted to share something with someone, but sometimes what feels like is that message is being not passed to the right place, because there are multiple layers of channels involved within the organizations. So what tendency that we see is that, the message, the right message instead, is not being reached the right place. But a suggestion is a kind of a concept which directly helps us, over there. So in terms of a suggestion, that we see is that pretty simple. So you define categories, you define an admins to that particular categories, and those category admins would be responsible for any suggestions for which is being posted out for that particular category. So when I say a category and the category admin, which is like a direct one-to-one connection with these categories and the employees. So let's say if I'm posting anything in terms of an HR or an IT support or in management, so there are dedicated admins assigned to this particular categories. So if I have any feedback in terms of regarding the HR policies, or I need to say anything about the IT support, I can post my suggestions over it, and which will directly reach out to those particular areas who are directly managing, bypassing all the different layers of channels within the organization, which we feel is most important because we saw many gaps within the organizations that sometimes the messages are being not passed in at the right place with the right amount of message. So this helps over there that your entire message, that any level of employee post the right suggestions and we reach out to directly to that particular people.
So it's like, oh, yes, you can suggest, like, for example, that, yeah, we need a new coffee machine in this particular department. Or it could also be concerns that, like, yeah, I'm facing this problem. I need help navigating it. Or like, I want the management to take it into consideration and think about doing something about it. So a lot of things. Oh, that's interesting.
Absolutely. And could be anything, like any new policy has been rolled out and you have your suggestion onto it. Yeah, you want an improvement or anything. Use this suggestion portal, which will directly reach out to that particular admins, and you can have a direct one-to-one private and secure connection. So it's not like that anything, just like the other feature that you see, that's the idea, broadcast, and the knowledge bank, which are being open to all the employees within the organization, right? But the suggestion is a kind of a one-to-one channel that is being created between you and the admin itself. So it's not a public. So whatever that you say, it's remain private and secure as a part of a close one-to-one chat between you and the category admin itself.
So I see anonymous over there. What does that mean?
I think you spot out the right mark, Jabir. Yeah, that's actually USP of this product or this EchoLoud platform, I per se, is that whatever that you post in the suggestions, if it is being posted as an anonymous, it will not reveal your identity. So think of like a situation you may have always, sometimes might have came up that you wanted to speak out about something, you wanted to provide some suggestions to certain things, but you may have felt that, what the other person will think that it is been from you, right? But you want your suggestions on your voice to be heard at the right place without revealing your identity, which actually is required sometimes. So we saw that this has been happening to many of us, basically. And that's where we thought about having an anonymous suggestions, which actually never reveals the identity and never associate any data that you post as an anonymous to your individual identity that you are logged into these particular systems. So as you see that if you have something to speak about HR, which will, for an example, I have to speak about something that certainly HR has changed some policies. Okay. And speaking of that, I can select an HR category. I can write down my thoughts. And as soon as, I sent it as an anonymous, you can see over here that it will not able to track your name, not even the developers. So we developed this particular technology in such a way that even it is never associated with the identity, even in the database. So even the developers of this application would not able to track that, who is the anonymous person who has posted this particular feed. which is, I think, the most useful and which gives the liberty and surety to the users of these applications that whatever that they are speaking of it as a part of suggestions, which has been not put them onto the table. To have an examples that we saw that the women are been not able to speak about their certain things or the certain areas, but having this anonymous kind of a features which gives them a liberty and certain kind of a trust within them that their voice is being heard at the right place without revealing that particular identity or so. And which we think is the most important and we see the most useful one. As you can see rightly that, there are many anonymous suggestions is being posted along with the identities. So if those suggestions are being posted as an anonymous, it will never reveal the identity of someone. But sometimes what happens is that the right thoughts reaches to a right place. And that's actually helps by this entire EchoLoud platform.
Oh my God, this is something that's very sensitive. Like it's normally a very sensitive subject. Women are not so easily okay with talking about it. The fact that the anonymous feature, this concern alone says a volume of how comfortable the women in the organization feel with, demanding or addressing a concern that they have. And this is worldwide, like our daily or weekly challenges that we deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you say that, the people are start engaging within this particular platform, having this feature about not revealing their identity and speaking about the things that they earlier, don't want to share with anyone, which we feel has been really helpful. Speaking of that as well, that, as we mentioned, there are different categories of within the organization that we have set up. So it's kind of not one person has to deal with everything. What you can simply do is that, you can define the categories. So every organization admin would have this particular right that they can define their categories that they feel is the most appropriate and suitable for their organization, as well as they can define the administrator as well for those categories. So as you can see rightly over here that, there are so many admins is been assigned to a different categories, which you can see that the particular one is been taking care of the accounts, general IT supports. And so any suggestion is being posted for these categories will go directly to these persons and would be directly responsible for, managing those suggestions. And so having said that, you see that the broadcast idea knowledge banks are the open within the organization. So whatever you post is been available to see and react by anyone within the organization. But the suggestions ones remain the closed ecosystem within the EchoLoud itself. So kind of whatever that you are posting in is directly go to a category admin and you. So it's kind of one-to-one channel which is been created, which also been helps that not your identity, even though your posting is as with your identity, it will remain and private. Having said that, it also provides a liberty to a company admin that sometimes what happens is that someone comes with the very nice suggestions where you can see that the strong that the admin feels could be shared with the entire organization, that someone is came up with the suggestions. So what they can do is employee have an option to, make it as a public so that it can be viewed by all the organization employees, but they can only view it, the entire conversation. It's that they cannot reply to it, having it's only limited to between two parties. So yeah, that's the, the entire EchoLoud with the suggestions, ideas, context, directory and everything. That we
you
feel
left the best. You left the best for the last, the suggestions and anonymous feature.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the, the one of the most useful feature that we see within this particular platform. And we feel that definitely it not just help us within the organization, but any organization when they want to, keep their employees motivated across different areas and their voices is being heard at the right place, because we see that this has been problem at many places.
Mm-hmm. So what is the future for EchoLoud? I mean, this alone is so wholesome. The features and the facilities that it gives, the net of safety, the ecosystem that it has provided for all the employees, admin, non-admin, from the topmost in the hierarchy to the lowermost. But is there more to it? Or like what is the future of EchoLoud in the space where now we are seeing AI prevailing and automation of so many systems? I mean, I don't see a lot of work, to be honest. The way EchoLoud, number one, by the way, I need to say, I absolutely love the clean and neat aesthetic. It is so, it's so not noisy. It really gets you to where you want to go. You don't have to, read an entire guidebook in order to try and navigate the space. So I absolutely love that. It's extremely clean design. But on top of that, the fact that you don't have to, it's not hard work in order for you to get from A to B in EchoLoud. You've made the roadmap or the journey very seamless. Despite all of that, where does the future of EchoLoud lie in terms of, solving solutions or making life a lot easier for its users?
I mean, absolutely right, Javeria, that it's not just we are restricting ourselves with this particular things or this kind of a features, but we are working on many other areas as well, including, you rightly mentioned that we have a separate admin panel as well for this. So every organization will have access to a different admin panel where they can see that how the peoples are engaging. So we are building those, sentiment analytics and everything for the admin, so that they can have this idea, the sense of an entire ecosystem and the state of the mind about the employees and how they are engaging with the platform. Having said that, we are also working onto the, the gamifications part within the EchoLoud system itself, which is quite very exciting. And we are very, very much excited about rolling out these particular things to EchoLoud, where the more you engage within this platform will generate a leaderboard, and everyone will be, receiving a kind of a reward points in terms of how they engage within the system, and which they can utilize anywhere. Either that could be a cash rewards redemption, or that could be turnouts to a leave redemption. So
wow,
we are pretty much excited about it. So it's, the more you engage, the more you get.
I think that is the best way to incentivize people to post more and engage more and, provide more solutions more. I mean, with all the features with regards to the anonymity and the transparency around providing that true anonymous experience, and with the growth, definitely we see this growing a lot. I personally see this not getting over anytime soon or getting obsolete anytime soon. But I think that after, looking at all the sensitive conversations that, people are having, and yes, there is anonymity and all of that, but where does this, how private is this data? Data privacy, and where does this data get stored? All of that, especially privacy and storage is usually a big deal in this space. It's a question that's probably on the top of everyone's mind, because, for example, if I'm talking about something, yes, I'm anonymous, but I don't want my information or my details to go onto a platform that I did not give consent to. So how is that addressed in EchoLoud?
Thank you so much, first of all, for that question, because the EchoLoud addressed that particular problem. Because we feel and we observe that, the organization doesn't feel about, they are very open about sharing their organization, what's happening to their organization to the other platforms. But the EchoLoud is a platform that we built it in such a way that can be hosted and deployed within your ecosystem itself. So we are not in the control of the data. You or the organization who is been using this EchoLoud system or is been deployed is having the complete control to that particular data. So your data resides on your server, or anything happening within the system will be deployed. Though there will be an option to have and use an open areas or the shared environment, but if you want a closed environment, EchoLoud's address that particular problem as well. And having said that, if it is being used as a shared environment, the entire communications are happening between the servers and the applications over the secure channel and the end-to-end encrypted as well. So the data remain, yes, absolutely secure and private and not shared with anyone. And if you want, you can definitely have this EchoLoud entire platform as an ecosystem would be deployed onto your server, where everything remains on your server and data will never leave your organization.
Wow. And it's ironic that like we got a chance today to like talk in so much detail about EchoLoud. I know for a fact that I would want to go and explore it more. Now I know this more than like before. When you said that this was one of your best works, I thought for a minute I thought you were showing off a little bit. But now that I know what I know and I've seen what I've seen, I'm beginning to think that there is some truth to, I mean, if I were you, I would feel just as much pride in having built this, and the amount of thought and the compassion that you've put into the product. People think of tech like, okay, this is in a very mathematical sense, that everything's calculated, everything's mathematical. But after looking at the way you look at the solutions to daily problems and the sensitivity with which you're addressing problems, like, for example, with the women wing. And I also noticed there was something about safety and harassment. That is you solving problem through tech, yes. But at the end of the day, you're facilitating the people that need, help the most, that need support the most. So I, at this point, like if I were to put myself in your shoes, I would be a lot more proud. Or maybe because you've spent so much time on building it and putting it together, that it probably has been, it feels very normal for you. But for someone like me who's just been in a couple months and used it for a couple months only, a lot of these features are a wow factor. So I'm so glad that we actually talked about this. And I know that you have like a couple more projects that are in the pipeline, and maybe they're not ready for reveal right now, but I don't want to let you go so soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can connect back later whenever, we are ready with them.
So I'm so glad to have you here again. And I look forward to actually learning more from you. That's one of the reasons like I even started this, that we started this together, that I get to learn from you and I'm able to translate it into something that really the world needs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Javeria, for having me here once again. And this is absolutely a great session that we had about the EchoLoud, and looking forward to have many more sessions as well. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.